I wanted to share with you all how I make an adobo slow cooker pork butt. It's sort of like carnitas from Chipotle. My son says it's actually much better than the carnitas from Chipotle, and it's super simple. So you can see I'm just scooping out some adobo seasoning from Wegmans, just measuring it out into the bowl so that I don't contaminate what's in my jar with what I'm gonna rub on the pork. So we're just gonna really do a thick rub of the adobo seasoning over the whole pork butt. After I get the pork butt fully covered with the rub, then I am going to sear it on the stove top to give a nice crust to the pork before it goes in the slow cooker. So I do like to use my hands, but you don't have to use your hands. You could use another tool. I just really feel like I get it in there better when I use my hands. So the pork is going to be seared in butter, just to really give a nice rich flavor. I'm searing this with about a medium heat in the butter, and it's gonna just really give it a nice coating and a nice little flavor in the pan that when I'm done I will deglaze, and that will become the sauce that the pork is gonna get cooked in. So as you can see when I flip it over, just the nice brown that it gets to all the sides, that really seals in all the juices in the pork and makes it really nice and tender. While I'm searing the pork, I go ahead and start heating up my slow cooker, and I just add a little bit of the chicken stock that I'm going to use for the juice in the slow cooker, and then just a scoop of the adobo seasoning, just to add a little extra flavor and keep some moisture in there. You really don't want your slow cooker to be completely empty and dry while there's heat in it. So we're just heating it up and giving a little extra flavor in there. When the pork has a nice brown sear all over it, then I go ahead and I stick it in my slow cooker. As you can see that color on there, that's what you want all around the whole pork before it goes into the pressure cooker. So you're gonna have in your pan what looks like a lot of burnt seasoning and sauce, but if you stick with me, you'll see what I do with that. So here we just go ahead and put it in the slow cooker with the little bit of sauce that I've started in the pan, and now I'm going to deglaze, which just means to pull all the seasoning off of the bottom of that pan. So deglaze that pan with all the extra seasoning and the butter with some chicken stock, and really make a nice sauce that the pork will cook in. I want to make sure after I've poured that chicken stock in there that I get all of the flavor up from the bottom of the pan. So just gonna kind of scrape a little bit at the all the seasoning that's stuck on the bottom to really get all that flavor into the sauce that all the juices that the pork is gonna cook in. You really want to make sure it all comes up, and with the pan it's still probably on like a medium-high heat, that the warmth of the chicken stock will loosen everything up and you'll really end up with a really nice sauce to cook your pork in. When all the flavor has been pulled up off the bottom of the pan, I'm just going to pour it into the crock pot or the slow cooker, just to create that sauce for my pork. This is going to cook on high for about 3 hours, and then I turn it on low, and I cook it for about 2 more hours, and that really made it fall right apart. So this is about halfway through. I'm about to turn it down onto low and just flip it over. Make sure the other side gets to soak in the juices for a while. So once I flip it to low, then you're really just gonna see how it starts to fall apart after a little bit of cooking. Okay, so the pork butt has cooked for 3 hours on high and another 2 to 3 hours on low. Just really depends on how big your pork butt is. This one was about 3.5 pounds. And see how fall apart it is. I'm not doing anything, just barely touching it, and it's just coming to pieces. That's how you know that it's done. So I am going to pull the fat off of this pork because our family is not a big fan of a lot of fat. If you like that in your pork, then you could always kind of mix it in as you shred it, but I would recommend pulling that extra fat off of there. So as you can see, I've just pulled it out into a bowl, and here I'm going to pull all that loose fat that comes off of the meat really easy. I'm just going to pull that right out of there so we don't have to eat all that extra pork fat. Alright, after I got all of the fat I wanted to out of there, I'm just shredding it with my fork because it's so fall apart tender that it's super easy to just pull apart with 2 forks, just like that. Here's the final product with the pork after it's all been shredded. We turned this into burrito bowls, but you could really do whatever you wanted, tacos or whatever with it.